What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. It is Michael back with another Fit Dad's Live live stream, guys. We're going to be waiting on our co-host to show up here in just a little bit, but I want to go ahead and get us going because I'm starting late. So I apologize for making y'all wait. Yeah, definitely starting late. Been a crazy busy day. But anyhow, today's topic of discussion is how important or how much does mental health affect physical health and fitness? That is a question that I'm sure many people have asked many times before. It's nothing unique, but it is certainly an interesting topic. It's something that I had just been thinking about over the last week, actually, as was getting ready, for the show this week. And I thought to myself, well, what's really important as far as how to make sure that things are aligning as far as your overall health is concerned. And I always find myself telling people on a daily basis, it feels like on a daily basis, that mental health um, is extremely important. You have to kind of get that in line before you take steps forward on your physical health. Of course, you want to do both, and I can explain myself more, as we get through this stream today, and I will, of course. But I want to get y'all's take on it as well. But mental health is extremely important. The mind is far more powerful than we give it credit for, oftentimes. So we really have to be careful how we are managing our mental health, just as much as we're managing our physical health, because the mental health does affect the physical. Now, I guess I'd venture to say that it also goes vice versa. Whereas if you're in terrible physical health, it could affect your mental health. But I don't know which one comes first. Kind of like which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? Which one comes first here, the mental or the physical health? As far as if you are not doing well, and then it there in turn affects the other. I just wonder. It seems like it could go both ways, but which one really comes first? Um, so we're just going to be able to dive into that today. Again, that's it's a loaded topic, and it's a topic that you can get into a ton of science on. And today, I'm not getting into a ton of science. So if you're looking for science stuff and research studies and things like that, it's not the it's not the day for you. Maybe we can do that some other time. This is going to be more so anecdotal, things that I've experienced personally, and then trying to connect with you guys and seeing if you experience the same, whether it's through the chat or comments on playback, things of that nature. But I say let's hold on here. Give me one moment, and we'll get this thing moving. And okay, all right. So anyhow, again, like I said, it's going to be more anecdotal um, stuff today. I'm not going to go into a bunch of research, a bunch of boring stuff. I really want to kind of just talk about what I've experienced over, and I'm just going to really over talk over um, my health and fitness or my training tenure, right? My training experience, which is I don't know, 20, 20 plus years of doing so, and then how my own mental health has affected my training on a daily basis, and then even extrapolated out over longer periods of time, like where you find yourself. Do you find yourself highs and lows? Everybody has highs and lows in their life, and day to day you can have highs and lows. You can also have them week to week, month to month, year to year, even. And I'd even say, I mean, you want to extrapolate it out even further, you can get into decades at a time, where you feel like, okay, these were highs, these were lows. But I'm going to kind of just run through that and, just see what y'all think. Hopefully, you guys are here to be entertained just as much as you are to be informed. That's what these live streams are for. I'm not a doctor. I am not, someone who's going to be doling out any kind of real medical, I guess, knowledge, not knowledge, but just medical advice. Um, I'm just a regular dude who has been at this for 20 plus years in the health and fitness and training. And I just like to be able to talk with you guys and share my knowledge and share my experiences. And this just happens to be one of them that came to my mind of late. So mental health. So I mean, let's get into it. So when you're talking about physical health, so the thing is when everybody talks about going and getting healthy, I think really where they start is to say, well, tighten up your diet and get to the gym. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. That seems to be the number one and number two thing that someone is going to say to you when you want to, get fit or start that journey, right? Is diet, exercise. And I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of times, the vast majority of the time, I'm just as guilty of that because that does seem to be the default. Is whenever someone's saying, "Oh, I want to get in better health. I want to get in better shape. What should I do?" Okay, well, it's diet and exercise. You got to put those together, and then we start talking. And as you've heard in many of our streams and my videos, that's what we talk about: diet and exercise. Those combined have to come together to give you success. But I think a lot more often than well, a lot of times, what's skipped is nobody addresses the mental. Nobody, actually, that to me is diving deeper because if someone just kind of casually says, I want to get fit or I want to get more healthy, in my day to day, that occurs. I have those types of conversations in my professional setting for what I do in medicine. So that happens. Those conversations happen, and those are very surface level conversations. But ever so often, I get deeper into those conversations with some of the folks that I interact with, and we actually do dive into the mental. And I think that is a major component that is missing when you're talking about overall health and fitness. When you're discussing advice, right? We got Bad Mother Trucker that's just joined us. Looks like, hey man, thanks for coming through. I do appreciate you very much. Let me just read out his comments here right quick, and I'll continue my thought, guys. Bad Mother Trucker says, I think a lot of people's mental health has taken a little bit of a hit in the last 2 years because of COVID and lockdowns. Yeah, and of course, give me a little shout. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you too, man. I really appreciate you coming through. I really do. And I would agree with you 100%. The mental health has taken a hit, and I think that might have been why this kind of jogged this thought process for me over this last week, and the importance of mental health. So getting back to where I left off, basically, as I interact with people on a daily basis, only ever so often do I get past the surface level, right? And I go into mental health. And it's extremely important. I feel like whenever I'm able to break that surface level conversation and get a little bit deeper and start talking about let's start with mental health. Where are you really? Because I think if you don't address, in my opinion, if you don't address your mental health, there's only so much diet and exercise will do for you. And not to say it will do nothing, because it's a physical, you have a physical body. We're in a physical world. We don't live in fairy tale land as much as maybe some other people do nowadays. But we don't live in fairy tale land. So if you adjust your diet and exercise, your body will respond. It will. But you absolutely will not get maximum results. And a lot of times it could really hinder your results a fair amount when you're talking about if you're highly depressed or anxious, having anxiety issues. All of these emotions and all these emotions release chemicals into your body through your brain, right? So, of course, but they release chemicals into your body that are completely counterproductive to your health and fitness journey. It looks like we've got a co-host that's jumped in. Let me add him to the stream, guys, and let's get him introduced, and we'll keep on this. I'm enjoying this topic, man. I really want to get into it. Let's see. What's up, man? Cris, how you doing? Can't hear you. Let me see. No, I've just muted your mic. I'm going to unmute it. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll let you, yeah. No problem, man. No problem, man. Let Chris take care of his audio. But as I was saying, mental health, oh, looks like we just heard him. Mental health or those emotions, those deep emotions of anxiety and depression and things like that. Let me unmute. Let me unmute Chris here. That's odd.
There we go. Is that
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, you got it, man. You're with us. What's up, man?
Dude, now my dadgum, now I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me right
This
now?
Now I can.
Okay,
Can
good
you
deal.
still hear me?
Absolutely.
I was
Absolutely.
trying to use my new headset, but I guess it's only going to work for the computer because my last microphone broke. But what's up, everybody?
What's up, man? What's up? I was just getting started, Chris. And so, guys, we can just go through a reintroduction. We got Chris live with us now. We got Fit Dads live stream. Thank you very much for coming through. And Chris, thank you for jumping on with me this week. We're 1 week off because of me. It was my fault. I was out on the beach and I didn't have all my equipment. And I realized, but it's about to be a mess. So we pushed it back a week. So it's on me. It's on me.
Excuses.
Yeah, it's all a bunch of excuses, guys. It's all a bunch of excuses. But no, Chris, what I would want to do is get into mental health as how really is important is mental health to your physical health and fitness level. And so I was just getting into it, and I was letting everybody know really today, at least from my perspective, I'm going to be going over a lot of anecdotal stuff. I'm not going to go into any research studies. I'm not going to get all boring. I'm really just going off purely my own experiences. So I would love to hear from your side of the table what your experiences are with mental health, how it affects physical health, and how it really affects you on that entire health and fitness journey that you've been going on for quite some time now as well. So what do you think? I'll just ask you the question: how important do you really feel mental health is to your overall health and fitness physically?
Well, they go hand in hand, for one thing. Um, you know, uh, Whenever people are depressed, they tend to eat less. Therefore, their body's not nourished as well as it should be, and then their immune system's going to suffer. They'll be they'll have a harder time fighting off infections, viruses, things to that nature.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like the will to live kind of thing,
yeah,
where people, you see it all the time, especially with old couples. Like one of them passes away, and it's not even just maybe a few weeks to a couple of months, and then the other one passes just
yeah,
in the blink of an eye.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, they definitely go hand in hand. But that being said, physical activity, even just going for walks, being out in nature, going for hikes is it works wonders for your mental health.
It does. It does. So they do go hand in hand. And I was what I was explaining before, Chris, before you even got on, which is interesting. You basically explained what I said, but just in other words, was which one comes first, right? When you're talking about that old age old question, which one comes first, chicken or the egg? Well, which one comes first in this, mental health or physical health? So right, because they both affect each other, and do they affect each other equally? Is one more important than the other to get moving in the right direction, or are they equally as important?
I guess for me personally, this is just I'm not basing off of any studies or anything. I would say mental health would make up 60% and physical health would make up about 40, because poor physical health will make you have poor mental health, whereas the same thing, vice versa, like kind of like I was explaining, when people are really depressed or They have low self-esteem. You know, they're less likely to take care of themselves physically. They're less likely to have good hygiene. They're less likely to have to eat healthy, to eat foods. You know, you'll hear about people. You know, it's uh, cliche, I guess, but the women going through a breakup get their bucket of ice cream and watch, you know, sad movies or whatever.
Right.
It's kind of like similar to that, but I would put mental health just a little bit above it, because if you don't have at least some amount of hope, or whatever you want to call it, some form of ambition, then you're not going to have any will to improve your physical health.
Absolutely. So and I would tend to agree with that. I think the mental health, I think we discount it just generally as a whole, like when we're out, just in public. And I was talking about it earlier, Chris, saying that just kind of on my day to day when I interact with people, when I'm talking about health and fitness, which it tends to happen in my profession just about daily. And so when I have those conversations, the first thing out of my mouth, whenever someone's asking me for advice or just asking about the lifestyle, I always say, well, it's diet and exercise. And you and I both have preached on that about a million times and countless streams and different videos on our channels, is diet and exercise. And you have to put those together to be successful. So, but that's where all those conversations, at least the surface level conversations, that's where it ends. Everybody always defaults to say diet and exercise. But whenever you're talking, just like if you just in passing talking to somebody, you never bring up the mental aspect. And that's why I say I think we discount it a lot in general, just in our day to day. When someone is asking us about health and fitness, we don't default to say, well, how about your mental health? How are you feeling? Are you dealing with anything? Do you have to work through anything to get you to the next step? We don't ever bring that up because that's not surface level. So I think that might be because it's a little more personal. So when you're just talking to a stranger, you don't ask about mental health. You just talk about diet and exercise. Am I right or wrong? I mean, what do you think on that? How do you talk to people just in your day to day?
Well, absolutely. It's especially with men. Men are more inclined to keep their feelings bottled up, because when they do share, if they're feeling mentally weakened or they're going through some shit in their head, they're, I don't want to say enemies, but people will see it as a sign of weakness. It's just always been that way. And so men, especially more masculine men, are more likely to keep that bottled up and not talk about it.
Yeah.
Whereas, that's why I've done a few videos on it, just basically telling people that if they needed somebody to talk to, they can talk to me. But I would, even before that, I would advise seeing a therapist, because, if you find the right therapist, I mean, we all know there's plenty of them out there that are not, they shouldn't even be they shouldn't even be holding that position. But having a good therapist can work wonders. It can change your life. And,
Yes.
as somebody who's gone through anger management, therapy, rehab, all that stuff, it's mental health is definitely paramount. But talking to people, especially, like you said, strangers or people you don't know very well, um, I just think if they're looking for advice on how to improve their physical appearance, it's obvious that they've got something. They're not, they have poor self-esteem or something. They're trying to change something, so they feel a certain way about themselves. That's already apparent.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of, well, why do you want to change that? What is what's the reason you have for wanting to change the way you look? And kind of go from there and see, maybe they got picked on in high school because they were overweight, or maybe they got picked on in high school because they were too skinny. Um, Kids let that, especially teenagers, let that get to them way too much because they feel like they don't fit in. And whether it's girls or guys, I've seen them both on social media and in real life where they carry that with them throughout the rest of their life because they never get it. They never go to a therapist. They never get it worked out. So it's really important. You know, that's when you'll see the skinny guys that never stop bulking.
Right.
And then they die of a stroke or a heart attack at 35. You know, because they were super skinny in high school and they never they never got that out of their head. And girls the same thing. They'll get picked on because they were fat, and then they're anorexic when they're older, bulimic or something. So it
Right.
all comes back to mental health and just uh, kids are assholes, man. And it really starts off, you know, not even teenagers, even younger than that. You know,
Yeah.
one, you know, quote unquote popular kid can say something to another kid, and I mean,
Yeah.
it just completely destroys them. And it's kind of mind boggling to see how long that affects them. Just that one thing that was said to them, you know, stays with them for the rest of their life, pretty much.
Sometimes it can, absolutely. I'm sure that there are certain memories in our own lives individually that we actually we don't realize it, but we've carried them there through through our entire lives, and they're still with us today, and they, in some ways, shape how we act and react in this world. I mean, it's very very real, and I know this is maybe a little heavier topic, and we're, like I said before, we're getting in. We want to be talking about our anecdotal stuff. So this is stuff that Cris and I experience in our own personal lives. So we're getting a little deeper. You could tell our, we're not as, hyped up or angry or going nuts like we usually do when we're talking about our crazy topics. But this is real stuff, though, and I think that it certainly has to be discussed because again, going back to my previous point, it pretty much goes unsaid. We don't talk about it in general, just in passing. We really have to dig into somebody, right, and get a little deeper past the surface level conversation to get into the mental health stuff. Now, we've got Blackbeard that's joined us, and he says something that was very, very insightful because he takes it even a step further here, Cris. He says a healthy body personally needs to include spiritual, mental, and physical. So he's added another facet, which is your spiritual, which I 100% agree with. I think all of those have to be in line for you to be as successful as you can be. And I said before, I'll say it again, that I'm not saying that if you don't get tight on your diet and exercise, you will see no results if you're not good on mental health or spiritual health. I'm not saying that. You'll see results, but you will not reach peak results. It just simply doesn't work that way. And for a myriad of reasons, and many of them that Cris already explained. I know me personally, Cris, that we all have bad days. Hell, some we have bad weeks or bad months sometimes. And we can actually probably, if you think back on it, you could track your highs and lows through your days, your weeks, or your months, or even your years. Kind of what years you were high, what years you were low. This is all very real, and this is all just tracked off of your mental health. I think we all could think back to how we feel more than we can think back and remember what we looked like, right? Or maybe felt like physically on a single day. We know how we felt emotionally, and we certainly know where we stand spiritually. So I think again that's a very insightful comment there, Blackbeard, talking about the spiritual side of things, and it really ties into the mental because I believe if you're not spiritually grounded, I'm a man of faith, and it doesn't matter what faith you follow, but just a man of faith. I'm just going to say that if you're not spiritually grounded, your mental health, I believe, suffers because in my opinion, when I've run into people, Cris, you can chime in anytime you want, but if you run into people who say that where they're called atheists, I think, that believe in no God of any sort. Um, when I see those folks, there's a void there. Something's missing, right? And that's just in my opinion. They're just mentally not always as tight as the next guy, right? And it's because if you're not spiritually grounded, you have no moral compass, you have no compass, period, to guide you. And you've got to get straight in your head and in your spirit before you get straight on your physical. If you ask me, that has to come first. That has to come first. Spiritual and mental must come first because the body goes where the mind leads it. I've always really kind of hung on that statement. The body does go where the mind leads it. That's what I truly believe, because in my own experience, that's exactly what happens. Now there are some days or some weeks or some months that, Chris, I'm sure you have done it too, where you could push through, where you're just in a shit mood and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't get out of your funk, but you're just pushing through and heading to the gym. Because what I think we're doing in that circumstance is actually trying to then mend our mental health. We're trying to say, I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to at least accomplish this. I'm going to take my small victories. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to get it done. I'm going to eat right, even though I feel like shit. And then we're hoping that comes full circle and then helps us mentally. I don't know, Chris, what are you thinking on my ramblings there?
Actually, I mean, as for those days when you don't really feel like going, I've had some of those days be the best workouts I've had. I'll go in, I'll be like, I'm just going to do a few sets, a few sets on bench, a few sets on, pull ups or something. And then and then I get those few sets in and I just keep going, and I just keep, and then I leave and I feel a lot better than I did when I came in. And then I've had days where I've gone in feeling excited about a workout, and then the gym will be packed and all the equipment I want to use is taken, and then I leave all angry and like irritated,
Yeah.
But I mean, personally, I wouldn't say I'm religious anymore. I grew up in Church of God. I, saved and baptized at the Missionary Baptist Church. But I don't know. I definitely, I feel like there's a creator. We don't just come out of nowhere,
Sure.
and, there's definitely a reason to be a good person, but I recognize it more as like a consciousness, almost like,
Okay.
like there's different levels of consciousness.
Sure.
So you've got your animals like dogs and stuff like that. And then you go up a level, and there's literally some people are no higher level of consciousness than dogs because they're
Okay.
disconnected. They have no moral compass. They're garbage people. And then you have people on average who are just, you can tell, like, oh, should I not do this? Should I hurt somebody for no reason? Well, you always have that conscious inside of you telling you that's not the right thing to do. Don't do that. That's not right. To treat other people how you would want to be treated, kind of thing. And then there's the third level of consciousness. Many achieve it through religion or, just that connection that there is a higher power than yourself, and that we have some sort of creator. But I've got into it with a lot of conservatives over this. Don't believe you have to be religious to have a moral compass. I think that because whenever you don't feel any remorse or anything, if you do something bad, that's a mental illness. I believe is it schizophrenia? It's one of those. So it's a mental illness.
It's like a sociopath.
Yeah, exactly. And so I actually just study the new people and sort of in the world. And it's
We can hear you some. You're beginning to break up. I don't want to be talking over you. I think you're still speaking, but you're breaking up pretty good now. We'll let you try to get reconnected and rejoin us. But as far as me continuing, it sounds like Chris and I are really on the same page. And then I've got comments here in of course our live comments. Blackbeard, man, he's rolling out some good stuff here, man, and I'm in agreement. and he's got some funny stuff here. I'm gonna put this back on the screen here, guys. Spiritually does not mean you are religious; just means you believe in something, whatever it is that is higher than you. Most married guys call that the wife. So yeah, that's that's funny. I like that. I like that, Blackbeard. And then we got Chris in the chat here. Let's see what he's got to say here. I'm a Christian, but something I've seen proved true in the fitness industry is that if you are negative, you will not succeed in getting good results physically. And then he goes on to say, um, there is a sense of speaking truth uh, into existing when it comes to fitness and shaping your body. So yes, absolutely. You could speak things into the universe, and I'm not trying to sound all hocus pocus and things like that, and or hippy dippy, but you can, man. The mind is extremely powerful, and if you can manifest things with your mental and spiritual health. You can manifest things. Looks like Chris is starting to get back on and join us. Get him a drink of water, I think. I'll make sure because he looks like he's still kind of glitching a little bit. Let's get him back in.
I accidentally hit the wrong button. But on that note, yes, I agree with Blackbeard. And I read a book that my mother gave to me. It's called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, I believe.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of quotes from the Bible in it as well, but it revolves around the law of attraction and thoughts becoming things.
Yeah.
And it's, it's not like you just sit there and like, oh, $1 million, $1 million, and then $1 million pops up. It's kind of to help you get in the right mindset to make the right change. It's like, I'm trying to think of like the best way to explain it. It teaches you to behave as if you're already in the position that you want to be in. And if you do that, then you will inevitably end up in that position, whether it be a financial position, a career position, fitness position. If you want to be a top tier bodybuilder, you need to behave like you're a top tier bodybuilder. And then within the allotted amount of time, you're doing the workouts, you're eating, you're doing your food portions and all the really tedious things that us regular fitness guys don't really care to get into. I've got a buddy who's a bodybuilder in Canada, and man, he's on a strict regimen 24/7, and he works like 70 hours a week. And it's like, man,
Dude.
Yeah, I've had him on the show before. He was my first live stream, I believe, or he might have been the second.
Was he from Canada?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But no, what I was saying though is I'd said I was not religious, and I had conservatives come at me. And I mean, I consider myself conservative most of the time because most of my values are conservative, but they're like, what are you conserving? And I had to say, freedom, my rights, the way of being able to invest in myself and build my own business, my own corporation, if I feel the, urge to, and then provide that opportunity to somebody else. I don't think you got to be conservative or be religious to have a moral compass, because it's you can tell, like it's stopping and helping the old lady with the flat tire on the side of the road kind of thing. Some people see the lady. I've done this before, and the lady, she had a really nice vehicle. I mean, it was super nice. I was on my way back from work. I was tired. I had a long drive home, and she was on the 4-lane highway. So and when I saw her, I'd gone past her, and I had to go a mile down the road and take an exit to turn around and come back and drive another 3 miles back to the previous exit and then turn around again. And I came back and I changed her tire and she was trying to pay me. And I said, no. I said, you don't have to pay me. You know, it's no big deal. All I did was put your spare on. And somehow this woman snuck back there and had stuck $40 in the seat of my truck. And then she, you know, I'd send her on her way and I get back in the truck and I'm like, you kidding me, man? I'll never forget that though. Yeah, she was trying so hard and I didn't even see her go back there, but I had my windows down. She must have just tossed it in there. But, you know, and it's becoming less and less common for people to just have that common courtesy. And I guess it's just because I was raised in the backwoods, kind of the old fashioned way, you know. It's sad.
It is. It is. I agree. And man, this is such a great topic because I think, you know, any of us can say so much about it. And we all have our own life experiences and they all add up to really, when you put them all together, it kind of tells one single story. And I think there's a common thread, and that is the mental health has to be in line for your physical health to actually thrive. Now, I say thrive. I'm not saying you're just gonna, you're gonna be in piss poor health. You die early just because you have mental issues, mental health issues. That's not the case. I'm talking about for your physical health to thrive. And looks like Blackbeard was saying something that was very interesting. I'm going to read one of his comments. He said, one thing I've learned is that you can ignore your physical health and still live a happy life. But if you ignore your mental health, the results end up totally different. And I think, Blackbeard, an excellent observation. And I don't think there's going to be many people that argue very much against that. Chris, what do you think?
Just won't be as long of a happy life.
True.
But I totally agree.
You're talking about the physical part. Yeah. I mean, but I agree with it. You know, if you're not well mentally, it's very difficult to be happy because that's where your happiness comes from, is your mental and your mentality and your spirituality. So that's a very good observation there, Blackbeard. And we got Chris in the chat as well. They're all taking us to church today, Chris, man. I mean,
well, I wanted to say one more thing on the religion aspect is that every therapist I've been to always asks about your religion. So definitely they're definitely hand in hand. Even the therapists recognize that.
100%. 100%. And, and I'm glad that you chimed in on the whole, the religion thing and spirituality thing, because I find it interesting, from your perspective. Your point of view is different than mine. Whereas I take
no issue with religion. I think that if it's good for some people, they get their morality, they use that, and they're good people. Christian conservatives donate more to charities, do more to help the homeless and needy than anybody else. All you have to do is look at the tax documents to see that. And most of them do it anonymously. They don't even want any praise for it. And then you see all these leftoids over here that are all talking about it. And then you go look at their documents and it's like, you haven't done anything to help the needy. What are you talking about? That's what drives me so crazy, is like, they call themselves atheists or, whatever they are. They're really just ignorant, I believe. But they're hateful. I don't have any issue with people believing whatever they want to believe. If whatever works for them, that's great, And I have friends who are religious, friends who are Christian, friends who are, I've even I don't talk to him anymore. I had a friend who's Pentecostal, and I've struck up conversations with Amish people and had a totally chill time. They were asking me about my phone and I was showing them stuff on my phone. And no, it wasn't. That guy that I was just thinking of was a Mennonite. That's what he was.
Oh, okay.
But I'm open to conversations because I like to broaden my own perspective by hearing other people's perspectives. And I feel like that conversation, that willingness to hear other people out and hear their experiences and where they're coming from has just diminished. And it's turned into, if you don't agree with me, then you're the enemy.
Right. Unfortunately
And
so. And that goes right back to what Blackbeard said here, man. His comment says, good manners are dying out. I can't agree more. We don't have
I
any
still hold the door
common.
for a lady, like that Joe Nichols song. He says, I always hold the door for a lady. I don't care if she's 4 or if she's 80. Yeah, I still do all that old fashioned stuff, dude. And some
Yeah.
people will look at me weird about it. I'm like, I guess call me old fashioned, but really, I don't even see myself as that old fashioned. I mean, I'm not even real. I don't even consider myself a good or a bad person. I just consider myself a regular person. I don't think people are, I mean, of course there's bad people, but they're not,
Yeah.
most people that are seen as bad are more ignorant than anything. It's more, most people just have good and bad in them, and they make bad decisions, they make mistakes. But beyond pedophiles and murderers and stuff like that, murderers who do so without any good reason, that is, most people can change for the better.
They're redeemable. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But
I agree.
that goes back to the mental health is as this common courtesy and everything has diminished and the manners and everything, so is mental health. Mental health is worse across the board in the U.S. and throughout the world than it's ever been before. And I talked to my therapist about that, and I was like, well, some of that increase is going to be the improvement on testing for it, on things like ADHD, things like that. But a lot of it is also the shortening of attention spans. Since TikTok was released or created, I believe, there was a study done. I think they show it in the YouTube Creator Academy, if you've gone through that. But people's attention spans, they used to spend on average a little over a minute or so watching a single video, and it's gone down to something like 7 seconds before they're swiping to another video.
I think I've heard that somewhere, or read that somewhere.
Yeah, it's only gotten worse. So, and that has a lot to do with mental health because it's that it's almost like a drug. It's that constant hit of dopamine they get from just swiping to the next video, or if they're a creator, they're getting comments and they're excited. I don't even check my comments. Maybe like once every now and then I'll go check my comments, see how things are going, because I don't want to end up like that.
Right. No, I agree. So let's see what we got. Some comments. Speaking of comments, we got some comments here. I definitely want to read out. Looks like Blackbeard again. Truth knows I'm a Christian, but to be spiritually healthy, use nature or use patriotism or hunting or whatever. If you aren't religious, use something. You have to have a higher calling. You have to have something that's guiding you to be a better person. And that's what Chris Diggs said here in the comments as well. I think that it's because of hope and faith. If you do not have hope or faith, it is hard to get over addictions. If you do not have belief that you can obtain something, you won't. And again, that again goes back to what I said before, Chris, and you have echoed before. The body does follow where the mind leads, and you absolutely have to get focused mentally to move forward at your peak condition physically. So, man, I mean,
that's almost exactly what I said earlier. Whenever you had asked, if one is more important than the other, and I said that I would put mental health about 10% above
Yeah.
physical because you got to have that underlying hope in order to improve your physical health. You got to be willing to take the steps necessary.
100%. Yeah, well, to break through right now, anybody can kind of get started on something, and then as soon as the going gets tough, if you're not mentally ready or prepared, you will break down and end up giving up. So you can't achieve those higher levels of goals. So I think, yeah, Chris, both Chris is here in the chat and on as my co-host today, man. We're hitting on the head, guys, and I feel like y'all are taking me to church here. You have to pass around the offering plate a little bit. I mean, this is very, very interesting conversation to me. And I'm glad you and I have gotten on here to do this today, Chris, because I think um, uh, we have in a sense completely separate viewpoints, but we're meeting in the same place, and that is what good conversation is about. Like we're not arguing. I'm not arguing my point. You're not arguing yours. We have completely different viewpoints, but we're ending up at the same place, and we both agree that you have to be mentally fit before you can be physically fit. I think that is the underlying fact here that we're saying, from our anecdotal evidence, from our life's experience. If you are not prepared mentally and spiritually, the physical will not follow. You simply cannot keep up. You will give up and you will derail. You've got to get straight. And going back to what you said, Chris, about therapists, when you sit down with them and they ask you what your religion is, right? Because the spiritual has a huge weight that you carry in your mental health. So it all has to come together. And Chris, I'm going to say I agree with you that as far as mental health and physical health is weighed, I definitely think that if anything else, I'd give spiritual and mental maybe even a little bit more. But I definitely think the spiritual and mental aspect of your health is definitely outweighs physical. That has to come first, or the physical just falls behind.
Indeed, indeed. Yep,
Man,
it's sad. Just these days, people they're they're seeming. It's like I texted you yesterday. It's like, where are these people's parents? Where are these kids'
I don't know.
parents at, man? Because they're. What was it that I sent you about the work or whatever?
Yeah, let me look.
Um, Everyone wanting a handout, and I'm like, dude, you've got to. The world doesn't owe you anything. How do you think? Say we were back in the medieval days or even before that when people had to, hunt and forage for food. Oh, I'm vibing today. I can't. Okay, so you're not going to eat then. Your society wasn't going to take care of you. You didn't have a government to take care of you.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just they have no survival instinct.
You're right.
They
You're
think
right.
that everything should just be handed to them. And I relate that not only to social media, but also to all those reality TV shows. A lot of these kids um, watch all these reality shows about all these rich people, and then they want to mirror that behavior, but
Right.
they don't have that money. Their parents aren't able to pamper them the way those people on TV are. And they don't understand that that's why those people were the TV shows, like it was entertainment, but I
Yeah.
feel like it was also I even watched Viva La Bam. I liked that show. I thought it was, and if you've kept up with him, he's been through hell and back, dude. I think he's sober again now, but he's been through, like, he never really left that party and crazy stage, for a really long
Yeah.
time. And I think he
Yeah.
ended up losing his kids because of it, and it's sad, So it's, if anything, that should be what people are seeing. Is like, that's not the way to live. You got to develop discipline and responsibility. I
Yeah.
mean, it took me.
And do you think it's coincidental, right? And that just in general in society today, and men, I'm just talking about men this time. We just generally have a lower testosterone level these days, and we're just generally far more effeminate these days. Do you think that that's a coincidence when you're talking about mental health as it translates into physical health? Whereas that's to say that as a whole, we are more mentally and spiritually weak today than we were yesterday. I think that little nugget there, that's what that says. It says we are more mentally weak today than we were yesterday. We are weakened, and it's showing in our physical body. It's showing in our testosterone levels, and it's showing in our strength levels. It's showing in how we're acting and reacting in public, and acting and reacting with females and everything. I don't think that's coincidental, Chris. I think that whenever you have a shift in mental and spiritual health in the wrong direction, the physical falls behind. And I think the proof's in the pudding, right? Our testosterone levels are lower as males today than they were, in previous generations.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it's not a thought, man. That's a fact.
Yeah.
It's statistically proven fact. And it's because, our previous generation and the one before that had to work harder. They had to use their bodies to put them through demanding labor, and their bodies naturally produce the testosterone to accommodate for that, muscle tissue required to carry out whatever task they were required to do in order to put food on the table. The coal miners, the woodworkers, whatever. And nowadays it's just, there's machines that do a lot of the work, the heavy lifting. There's, so naturally, less muscle mass, less physical activity is going to equate to less testosterone.
Yeah.
And what's really sad is that generation to generation, that genotype is going to pass on and continue to drop.
Right. That's a problem, though, right, Chris? I mean, that's a major problem, because if we continue that course, I mean, who knows what the future holds? But it just definitely proves our point today that if you are not mentally and spiritually in line and strong, your physical is going to fall behind, and it just simply can't keep up. And it's funny, you were talking about your text message, Chris. I wanted to read it because I thought it was funny, and it does relate to what we're saying today and what you just spoke about. There was a comment that you had found online, and I'll read the comment out, and then I'll read your response, guys, because I want you guys here at home to hear.
Oh, no, that was a meme, and then I left a comment on it. Okay. I mean, I guess it was somebody's post, and then she screenshotted it and put it on there.
Yes, and so this speaks to the mental health part of things, exactly what you were just talking about a few minutes ago, Chris. I want to read this out to you guys at home because this is a trip. It cracked me up, Chris. You had me rolling when I was reading your response to it. This meme here says, explain the gap in your resume is so infuriating. He's talking about the question if you're in an interview. Explain the gap in your resume is so infuriating because maybe I was just vibing. Maybe something catastrophic happened. Why do you have to share intimate personal details to justify non-productive or non-laboring periods of your literal human existence? OMG. If that doesn't sound like this generation, I don't know what does.
Just whiny, lazy.
It's whiny. So, all right, guys at home, get ready for this response that our co-host here, Chris, gave us. So he said, in quotations, this OMG is why.
Well, that's what she put above the post. She put this OMG. Remember the chick who posted it?
Yes. Okay, now I see what you're doing that for. So Chris says, this OMG is why you are where you are. You think you're the first person to go through a crisis, to lose a loved one, to suffer from mental disorders or breakdowns. Grow up. You weren't vibing. You were being lazy. Millions of other people also suffer from a lot worse than vibing and still take their ass to work because they have kids at home that need food, clothes, and school supplies. It's called being a responsible adult. You're not special. You do not deserve a handout any more than your fellow hardworking citizens deserve to have to pay for said handout. I mean, that was such a great response, and I'm telling you, it cracked me up because it's so true. It's like this generation, man, they think that they're owed something, and they think that they're owed something. They're mentally weak. That's why, because everything is a handout these days. Everything is, what can you do for me? What can my country do for me? What can my fellow man do for me? It's nobody's ever actually stopping to say, what can I actually do to better myself or my fellow man or my country or whatever it may be, whatever argument may be posing. Nobody's ever wanted to get up and do anything. They want to hand it to them, and they want to cry when somebody asks them, well, why weren't you working for this 6 months? If you're sitting in an interview trying to get a job, they want to know. So they ask the question. Anyway, Chris, I'm on a soapbox now, but I just thought it was a funny comment you had.
I'm just sick of them, man. They, you know, and they think socialism's going to fix everything. It's like, man, do you not see all these people fleeing Cuba? I mean, and Cuba's not the only example either. There's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
socialism always leads to communism,
always.
and that leads to, uh, you know, our government should take the job. They should be reluctant to take the job because they should be in fear of the citizens taking, you know, their job away, because that's the way our government was set up. Whenever the founding fathers wrote out the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, they set it up for our government to be in service of the citizens, not the other way around. Not for
Right.
us to be filling their pockets, you know, and then for them to be printing trillions of dollars out and then just, you know, passing these bills in the middle of the night. That's what I don't understand. I'm like, you guys want to vote for these people? They tell you Orange Man bad, and you parrot that shit over and over. If they're doing the right thing, why do they have to pass the damn bills at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night when nobody else is there? Why do they have to do that?
That's a fair question.
Why are they doing it in secret? Why? We know they're doing it. I mean, the bills just don't come out of nowhere. All you got to do is go to their fucking website and you can see it. All of a sudden, oh, there's new legislation. That's not the way things were intended to work.
Right.
We are a free and independent country, and they are trying to take that away from us. They're trying to they want, every time they take more emergency powers, you know, they never give it back. They never return that power back. It reminds me of Star Wars. Have you seen the prequels, Star Wars?
Oh
When
yeah.
Chancellor Palpatine takes over,
Yeah.
he's like, as soon as this war is done, I will relinquish this power. And then he just keeps on taking more and more power until he creates an empire. And I'm just like, I was going through it, watching it again the other day, and I was like astounded at how close, how similar that is to what's going on right now, how they're doing that.
It's
And
wild.
they talk about mental health all the time, but they're not doing anything to fix it. They're just making it worse, locking people up, making them stay home from work. That seriously increased negative mental health. Suicide rates went through the roof for
Yeah.
teenagers, men, women, everybody. Everybody except for toddlers and babies, basically.
Yeah. I mean, and so
And
once again, I'll just say, is it a coincidence that just as a whole, mental health went down, and then also as a whole, physical health went down as it coincided with each other? Mental and spiritual health went down over the last couple of years, right, with all the lockdowns and all this other BS, and physical health went down right along with it. And we see more obesity, more illness, more sickness, everything. I mean, I'm seeing it on a daily in my job, where people are just sicker and they're more apt to be overweight or obese or morbidly obese. That population of folks is increasing while the population of people who are in good shape mentally and physically is decreasing. So it's not a coincidence to me, if you ask me. So I think we have definitely made it very clear today that without mental and spiritual health, you cannot thrive physically. You simply can't. Now, you could push through and get some stuff done with diet and exercise because that's just how the physical body works, but you will not thrive. You will not reach peak potential. And really, over a lifetime, if you can't get right mentally and spiritually, though those chemicals that are constantly released in your body from your depressions or your anxieties or your anger or whatever it may be, that will tear down your body physically over a long period of time. I've witnessed it in many people. So I think Cris and I have definitely thoroughly covered this topic today. Cris, do you have any other closing comments before we shut this thing down?
Nah, man, I think we covered it pretty well. I appreciate everybody for coming. Do you want to go ahead and get back on schedule and host on my channel next week, or do you just want to do 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from then?
Let's if it's good with you, let's just go ahead and hop right back on schedule, and we can do it next week on your channel. If that works with your schedule.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so we'll do that,
We
guys.
will. We'll come up with something good.
Just remember, we're going to be on Chris's channel next week, and we're going to hop right back on our regular schedule of going every other week with each other's channels. So Chris's channel next week, guys. Don't forget at all to go down and hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Go ahead and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything that we got coming up. And also in the description, I always put links to Chris's channel. Guys, go ahead and click that link, get over there, subscribe to him, click the notification so you don't miss us when we go live. And Cris, that's all I got to say, man. You'll go ahead and take us out.
All right, man. I appreciate you guys for watching. And like Michael said, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn all the notifications on, and we'll see you guys next week.
100%. Thank y'all.